Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the common errors that people make in Salah. Number one, the Imam not arranging the rows. It is common among some of our Imams that whenever they enter the masjid, they tell the Mu'adhin to do the Iqamah and they just face the Qibla and start the Salah. They care less about the arrangement of the rows of the followers, those praying behind them. So I'm going to be displaying how the Imam is supposed to do the arrangement of the rows, because it is a compulsory duty upon the Imam to arrange the rows. Abu Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, "Kana Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam yamsahu manakibana fi salah wa yaqul istahu wa la takhtalifu fatakhtalifa qulubukum." The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to straighten our shoulders in salah, and he will say, "Istahu, stand straight." Perfect your istiwa, your standing. Wala takhtalifu, and do not wala takhtalifu, and do not separate, do not disagree, lest your hearts are separated by discord. So this is what Prophet ﷺ would do. It would ensure that the Sahaba are standing on the same row. Then we have another hadith. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us, istawu, stand straight in your salah. لِيَلِيَنِ مِنْكُمْ آلُ الْأَحْلَامِ وَالنُّهَى. Let those be closest to me who are mature and have the understanding of the religion. ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. Then like that and like that. And finally, on this point, we have also the hadith of Al-Barra bin Azib, who said, كَانَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ يَتَخَلَّلُ الصَّفْ مِنْ نَاحِيَةٍ إِلَى نَاحِيَةٍ. The Messenger of Allah used to move from one row to the other, from one side of the row to another. And what will he be saying? He will be saying, istawu, straighten your rows, wala takhtalifu, and do not disagree amongst yourselves. So this is the job of the Imam. He has to straighten the rows. It's compulsory. Error number two, the Imam not telling the followers to straighten up their rows. So even if the Imam cannot move from one side of the row to the other to tell the people to straighten their rows, it is his responsibility to tell them, istawu wa'tadilu, straighten your rows and stand straight. So this is the job of the Imam. The third error is, how do we straighten the rows? How do we stand? How do we stand in the rows? Issues of our feet and our shoulders. Number one is that it is compulsory for us to straighten our rows in Salah by putting our shoulders together. So the shoulders have to be together like this. Even if someone is taller than the other, it doesn't matter. Let the shoulder of this person touch wherever it can of the hand of this person. Then the next point is concerning the feet. Here many people make mistake. Straightening the feet is not about putting the toes together. This is wrong. What is correct is putting the ankles together. And the reason why it has to be the ankle is because legs are not of the same size. Some people's legs are longer than other people's. So if you have to put the toes together, this person's feet, this person's ankle may be far behind this person's feet, right? So, and this person's feet may be far ahead of this person's feet. So what you are supposed to do is to put the ankles together, not the toes. And then we stand straight like this. Then the third point to note here is that the Prophet ﷺ will tell his companions to not leave any space for shaitan. Shaitan is always interested in the spaces you leave amongst yourself so that he can exploit it to split your heart and cause discord amongst you. So when you stand in Salah, ensure that you're standing shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot, by placing your ankles together like this, and then your hands are also together. So this is how the Messenger of Allah would command the Sahaba to do. So this is the correct way of standing together. Now when you look at how these people are standing, you realize that the row is straight. Just like it is mentioned by An-Nu'man bin Bashir, said Messenger of Allah would straighten our rows, ka'annama yusawwi biha al-kidah, as if he's straightening arrows. Like an arrow you want to fire at a prey, you straighten it to ensure that it catches its target. Point number 4 to note under this is, having put the feet together. Some people will try put their foot together and then they will be facing it inside. This is wrong. Some will put their feet together, they will face it outside. This is also wrong. You are supposed to put the foot together while your toes are facing the direction of the Qibla. So before you commence your Salah, ensure that your toes are facing the direction of the Qibla, because this is where you must face completely on Salah. Almighty Allah says, وَمِنْ حَيْثُ خَرَجْتَ فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. Wherever you come out from, face the direction of the holy mosque, and that is the Kaaba. So this is also one of the mistakes that people. Then point number 5 on the issue of ataswiyah. Some people, maybe when they are praying alone or even when they're in Jama'ah, they expand their legs beyond what is ordinary. This is wrong. So why you don't put your feet together like some of our sisters do, and this is a mistake on the part of the sisters. Whenever they pray, they put their feet together like this. This is wrong. Now let's assume that I am a female worshiper. Please come. And he is also a female worshiper. Now put your feet together. Now, and I put my feet together. Have we not left a space for shaitan here? So this is wrong. You don't leave a space for shaitan. If each of us is praying like this as females, then we're definitely leaving a space for shaitan here. There will not be the closure of the gaps. So what do we do? Now, you do like this, like I've done. Now, let's join our ankles together. So this is how we pray, whether males, whether as brothers or sisters. Now, you have to turn this one to face the Qibla, just like I have done. Good. Aha. So we ensure that the toes, the entire toes, are facing nowhere but the Qibla. I think this is understood. Good. So this is one part. Allahu Akbar.
Zuhr.
Now, this is wrong. Whenever you enter the masjid and you find anyone praying, it is wrong to ask that person what salat he is observing. This is because it is not permitted for someone observing salah to talk. And coming to talk to him is also a form of causing him disturbance, is urge on salah. So what you do when somebody is observing salah is to join him irrespective of what you think he is praying and irrespective of what you want to pray. The evidence is that when the Prophet ﷺ was alive, Mu'adh bin Jabal would observe salah behind Prophet ﷺ in Medina, and then he would go back to his people and lead them in salah. The one he prayed behind Prophet ﷺ was his own obligatory salah, but the one he leads his people is for him a nafila and for them an obligatory salah. And this is the evidence that the ulama have cited, that it is permitted to observe an obligatory prayer behind someone observing nafila. There's a chapter in books of fiqh which is titled Babu Salātu'l-Muftarid Khalfa al-Mutanafil, the chapter of somebody praying obligatory prayer behind the person praying nafila. Now, if it is permitted to pray obligatory prayer behind someone observing nafila, what about praying an obligatory prayer behind somebody observing another obligatory prayer? So irrespective of what the person is praying, it is not permitted to ask him, what are you praying, before joining him. So what you do is to join the person irrespective of what he's praying and continue the salat with him. So even if you were praying nafila, it has nothing to do with your own salah. So take note of this mistake. Allahu Akbar.
No.
It is wrong to join someone observing salah on his left. What is correct is to join him on his right side, because this was the practice of Prophet ﷺ when he was observing prayer one day, and Abdullah ibn Abbas joined him on the left. He said, Prophet ﷺ moved me behind his back to his right. So when you find somebody observing salah, you join him to his right side and not to his left side. And if anyone were to join you to your left side on salah, then it behooves you to move him with your hand behind your back to the right side. This is what is more appropriate. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Mhm. Allah Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Allah.
It is wrong to join the salat of two people by either pulling the follower backward or pushing the imam forward. Both actions are wrong. When you find two people observing salah, you neither pull the follower of the imam backward nor do you push the imam forward. What you're supposed to do is to join the row. So you join the row, and immediately the imam is going to move forward and stand in front of the Jama'ah. So this is what is correct. This is what is correct. We neither pull someone backward, nor do we push the imam forward. We join the salat like that, and then immediately the imam, having sensed the increase in the number of his followers, will move forward and the salat takes shape like that. So this is what is correct. In another way, in case the imam were standing very close to the wall, whereby moving forward is not possible for the imam because of the little space between him and the wall, then immediately someone joins the salah, the follower of the imam together with the new person should take a few steps backward in order to let the salat continue. So watch this. Allah Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Allah.
So this is what is correct in a situation where there is no space for the imam to move into, to step ahead of the followers. The second and the third person praying with the imam would simply move a few steps backward so that the safu would take shape. So note this. Allah Akbar. It is wrong for the imam to stand to either side of his followers while on salah. If he is praying with, if he's leading two people in salah, the right position for the imam is to stand in between them so that he has one person to his left and one person to his right. So the correct position for the imam is to stand in between his followers and say Allahu Akbar and continue the salah. So this is what is correct. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Allah. Allahu Akbar.
One common mistake that people make is to assume that when you join the imam on salah, you fill up the right side of the row before start filling up the left side. This is not correct. And because they rely on the hadith that says the best side of the row is the right side, so they misconstrue the meaning of this hadith to think that we have to fill up this side before the other side. But what is correct is that when you come into the masjid, we are supposed to fill up both sides proportionately. So we'll move to the right, to the left, like that, and like that. The scholars of Islam have mentioned, and this is the fatwa of Sheikh Uthaymeen and Sheikh Bin Baz, that when you come into the masjid and realize that people are standing all to the right side of the imam, then you should stand to his left, because of the hadith that the best position for the Muslim is the closest position to the imam. Now, if you're standing on the far right of the imam, you are not as close to the imam as somebody that joins and stands to his immediate left. So this is what is right. When we come into the masjid, we fill up the rows proportionately from the left and the right side, like that, not the right side gets filled up before we start thinking of filling up the left side. So this is what is correct. Allah Akbar.
Akbar. الله أكبر.
When joining the second row in Salah, one is supposed to start from directly behind the Imam and continue filling up the rows to the right side and to the left side proportionately. One major error that people make is to start from the far right of the Imam by standing alone at the far right of the Saf. Some people will stand alone at the far right, far left, at the far left of the Saf, abandoning the center, which is supposed to be the starting point of the Saf. Now, don't forget that if the Imam is praying with just two people, he's standing right in their middle. So, which means that for everybody joining the Salah, is to start from directly behind the Imam, and then we fill the sufuf to the right and to the left, proportionately, like that and like that. So, when you come into the masjid, and you find somebody standing to the right side of the Imam, if it is possible, draw him to the middle of the, to directly behind the Imam and start the safu together like that. But if it is not possible to draw him, in order not to cause the breaking in the sufuf, then there is nothing wrong if one joins him so that from there you build the saf down to the other side. But what is best is if our people can be admonished to not start their saf from the far right of the Imam or from the far left of the Imam, but rather from directly behind the Imam, so that people continue to join them to their right and to their left, and we complete the saf. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. Allah Akbar. Now, you can see here that we have 5 types of people coming to join the Salah. The first person rushed to join the Salah in order to catch the ruku'. Now, this is very wrong, because when Prophet was alive, one of the companions named Abu Bakr al-Thaqafi once rushed to join the Salah in the manner of the first person. The Prophet after the Salat told him, Zadakallahu harison wala ta'ud. May Allah increase your love for the Salah, but do not repeat this action. So this is the prohibition of rushing to join the Salah, because Prophet said, إِذَا سَمِعْتُمُ الْإِقَامَةِ, anytime you hear the Iqama, that is the commencement of the Salah, فَلَا تَأْتُوهَا تَسْعَوْنَ, do not rush to join the Salah. وَأْتُوهَا تَمْشُونَ عَلَيْكُمُ السَّكِينَةُ وَالْوَقَارُ, come to the Salah walking gently while you are calm and cool in coming for the Salah, as we have seen the third person do. As for the second person, he also did his ruku' behind the saf and entered the saf while he was in a state of ruku'. This action is also wrong, even though it is one of the opinions held by the ulama. And the evidence for this opinion is the statement of Abdullah ibn Zubayr, who said, إِذَا دَخَلَ أَحَدُكُمُ الْمَسْجِدِ وَالنَّاسُ رُكُوعًا, whenever any of you enters the masjid while the people are on ruku', فَلْيَرْكَعْ حِينَ يَدْخُلْ, he should make ruku' wherever he is, ثُمَّ يَدُبُّ حَتَّى يَدْخُلَ فِي الصَّفِ, then he should keep walking like this until he enters the saf. This is the opinion held by some of the ulama, including Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala. But this opinion, with due respect to those that hold it, is not also the better of the two opinions. And the reason is, when you do this, you are likely to be panting by the time you join the saf, and you'll be uncomfortable even with yourself. This negates the statement of Prophet sallallahu وَأْتُوهَا تَمُشُونَ عَلَيْكُمُ السَّكِينَةُ وَالْوَقَارُ. So when you approach the Salah, come calmly, do not rush, do not put yourself in any situation that would make you to start panting or that will make you uncomfortable. As for the third person, he did the ruku right behind the saf and continued to pray right there. This is also wrong because Prophet ﷺ said, La salata limunfaridin khalfa saf. There is no salat. He has no reward for the salat. He who prays alone behind the saf. This hadith affects anyone that sees a space in the saf to join, but rather prays alone behind the saf rather than joining the saf. But if there is no space in the saf to join, then he is to pray right wherever he is, behind the saf by starting a new row by himself. It is wrong that when you come into the salah and the first row is filled up, or whatever row you are about to join is filled up, to pull someone out of the row to start a fresh row. This is also wrong. The Prophet ﷺ said, Khairu sufufi rijal, the best row of the men is awaluha, the first one. Then like that, like that, like that. This is how the rewards are shared among the Muslims when they pray in congregation. Now, how can you pull someone out of a better reward and bring him to that of a lower one? So it is wrong to also do this. So what is best for the Muslim to do is when you enter the masjid and you find the Jama'ah observing Salah, irrespective of whatever posture they are, walk calmly and gently to join the Imam. The Prophet ﷺ said, Fama adraktum fasallu. Whatever of the Salat you catch, pray it with the Imam. Wama fatakum fatimu, another riwayah, fakudu. Whatever you miss of the Salah, then complete that part after the Imam has completed his own Salah. So this is what you're expected to do when you join a congregational prayer. Number one, do not run and join the saf, because even while doing so, you may mistakenly leave a fundamental aspect of salat, such as the takbiratul ihram. So some people rush into the salah and they just go like this. So this is wrong. Some people even enter with their ruku. This is wrong. Number two, do not make ruku' behind the saf and enter into the safu while in a state of ruku'. Like I mentioned, some of the ulama hold this opinion, but it is not the better of the two opinions. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Number three is do not make a ruku' behind the saf, and then when the imam rises from the ruku', you now walk to join the saf. Number four is do not make a ruku' or whatever posture the imam is on behind the saf and remain there. This is even a worse situation, remaining there to conclude your salah while there is space to join in the saf. The best opinion is when you are coming for the salah, walk gently and calmly, join whatever posture of the salat you find the jama'ah, and start your salat from there. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Allahu Akbar. One of the common errors in Salah is to pray without the Sutrah. The Prophet ﷺ commanded his companions to always pray to their Sutrah. He said, إِذَا صَلَّى أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيُصَلِّي إِلَى سُتْرَتِهِ. Whenever any of you intends to observe Salah, let him pray towards his Sutrah. It is also an error that is common here for people to be passing in front of the one observing Salah, and for him observing Salah to allow them to pass right in front of him. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا صَلَّى أَحَدُكُمْ إِلَى سُتْرَتِهِ. Whenever any of you is praying towards his sutra, فَلَا يَدَعَ أَحَدًا أَنْ يَمُرَّ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. Let him not allow anyone to walk in front of him. So it is wrong that when you're observing Salah, you allow people to walk indiscriminately right in front of you. Again, it is wrong for a Muslim to see someone observing Salah, whether he has a sutra or no sutra, and walk in front of him directly, especially between him and his mawdi' al-sujud. The Prophet ﷺ said, لَوْ يَعْلَمُ الْمَارُّ بَيْنَ يَدَيَ الْمُصَلِّي مَا عَلَيْهِ لَكَانَ أَنْ يَقِفَ 40 خَيْرًا لَهُ مِنْ أَنْ يَمُرَّ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. If the passerby in front of the one observing Salah knows the gravity of the sin is incurring, it would have been better for him to wait for 40 than to pass in front of him. The Rawi said, I really can't recollect whether he said 40 days or 40 hours or 40 years, but he mentioned something about 40. So it is wrong to pray without having the sutra in front of you. It is wrong to pray and allow people pass directly in front of you, and it is also wrong for you to pass in front of somebody that is observing Salah. Allahu Akbar. The Prophet ﷺ said, whenever any of you is praying to a sutra, and this is an example of the sutra, the length of the sutra has to be something like the saddle of the horse. The sutra should not be shorter than the saddle of the horse. Now, whenever any of you is praying towards a sutra, and anyone intends to pass in between him and his sutra, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَلْيَدْفَعْهُ, let him push him back. فَإِنْ أَبَى, if he refuses to step back and go and pass in front of the sutra or behind the person that is observing Salah, فَلْيُقَاتِلْهُ, let him fight him back. فَإِنَّهُ قَرِينٌ, because definitely that person is shaitan. Another riwayah, فَإِنَّ مَعَهُ shaitan, definitely he has shaitan who is working with him. So what is correct is, if you're praying to the sutra and somebody wants to pass, the person can either pass behind you or pass in front of your sutra. But if he wants to pass in between you and your sutra, then you have to extend your hand like this to tell him to go back. But if there is no space in front of your sutra, then you can simply move forward a bit so that he passes behind you. This is what is correct. But if the person insists to pass in between you and your sutra, then you have to fight him back. So that he knows what he's about to do is wrong. You do not allow him to pass in between you and your sutra, because it reduces the reward of your salah. So this is what is correct concerning the sutra. Remember, the Muslim should always pray while having a sutra right in front of him. The space between you and the sutra should not be more than what it requires for you to do your sujood, like this. This is what should be the space between you and the sutra. You can't place the sutra here and you are standing, for instance, somewhere here. This is too much of a space. So you move closer to your sutra so that your forehead would be placed right in front of your sutra in your sujood. So this is what is correct. Wallahu ta'ala alam.